Welcome back to PM with the Trigger. Happy Monday to you. We're back once again, moving into the month of September, and it's beautiful. The leaves are starting to fall a little bit. The colors are changing. It's a beautiful time of the year. And of course, football is back. Yes, we are all excited. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We're great to have you back here to kick off another week with 2 p.m. with the Trigger. And we are getting ready for a very big event. We have another virtual book launch coming off. And that's going to be this coming Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And today we're going to be talking to Christer Johnsen, the author. He's a global influencer leader. He's a mentor to many, many people. And now he's an author. Christer Johnsen, in his globe traveling adventure. If you've been seeing the videos, you're getting just a glimpse of what he's all about. And Christer's on the land today instead of in the ship. Good afternoon, Christer.
Good afternoon, Rich. Good to be here.
So, by the way, what's it like to have land legs now for just a little bit before you go back on the water?
Interesting thing, when we have been sailing, like we sailed 2,500 miles in 2.5 weeks, we get actually land sick. We don't get seasick, when you go to land after that long. So it's kind of shaky, but it's settling now. So it's okay. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. We're getting ready to celebrate your new book, Be Daring, Be Different. And it's reverse engineering of your life from what you want to from who you are to who you want to be. I want to make sure I got that right. But this is a little bit of you. This is a little bit of vision casting, a little bit of helping people to take big steps in life, correct?
Yes, it is. So when I do mentoring, and also when I was a manager, I was always personal. I like to have personal connection with people. So I tell my story in the book as well. I tell a little bit about my background, a lot about my thinking, because I think it's easier for people to relate to what I write when they understand where I come from. And that is why we share also, like you have seen, that, well, we sail, we dive, we do hiking, we do everything. And we came to Mallorca in the Mediterranean just a few days ago, and now I am back home in my home office. So, and that is how we are. We live our full life. As my wife said when we arrived in Mallorca after 2.5 weeks of sailing, she said, "Wow, what a life." And yes, it is. It's wow, what a life.
Well, Jane is echoing your thoughts as she beams in, says hello to us, but you do lead the adventure life. You really do that. And about 5 years ago, you stepped into a new path. You went into that role of professional global mentor. And part of what I read in the book is you love people. You're curious to get to know new people and more new people, aren't you?
Yeah, I realized that through my management career that I love working with people, and I like what I call real people. I had the opportunity of doing like this corporate career, and I realized after being CEO and president of like the biggest group I managed, which operated in about 30 countries, I realized I like to work with closer to people, because when you are CEO, you have like a very small group of people around you, and I like to be close to people. I like to walk in factories talking with the people. I like to eat lunch with ordinary people. I just love people, and that is what I do in my mentoring too. I am personal. We have to go under the skin. You have to dig into the thinking, unconsciously thinking as well, what you think when you don't think, which is so important. And then you need to understand people and know them really well.
Well, and part of this book is, again, revealing your own personal journey, but it's also to help people that want to break free and have a life that you're doing. But you tackle one of the biggest questions in all of life. Chapter 4, you get into what is the purpose to life? Yeah. Could you pick a harder question for us, please?
Well, it's interesting. I like these big ideas. I refer to a little bit my way of thinking in my book as well. I was 11, 12 years old. I was in a scout camp out in the archipelago in Norway, far out on a small island. We were sleeping under the clear sky, and I was looking up at the stars, and I felt this longing home. I was wondering what's behind the stars, and I think that's the start. That is where my heart is. I just wonder, one of the discussions I had with one of my clients is, where do ideas come from? I have no idea. They just come like a package, but they are kind of filtered through our perception and our thinking. Then What is the meaning of life? To me, the meaning of my life, of this life, is how far can I go? I just want to stretch. I always done that. I haven't been consciously aware of it, but I always stretch. I know my mom and dad will say that I always stretch their environment, their patients, and that environment too. And I always ask questions because I'm very, very curious. I just like to think about those things. I think life is about much more than just doing a daily routine. To me, life is about how far can we go? How far can you go? How far can I help people go? And life is lived in contrasts. To me, that's a very, very beautiful picture. I appreciate the bad weather today because then I know I like sun even more. It's raining outside here now and it's late at night. And that is how it is, and when we appreciate things that we don't like because it makes us even more aware of what we like, then we have a different view on life, I think.
Now, you do like being daring. You do like being different, but I don't think I've asked you this question either on camera or off camera, but have you ever tried something and quote unquote failed? It didn't go the way you wanted? Because I'm sure you're high risk, you're high adventure. Have you ever gotten someplace and gone, no, I need to turn around and go back?
I sold my motorcycle a few months ago because I was bored riding legally.
Really?
Yeah. And then I realized, okay, I have to get rid of this. And it was a fast machine. And my wife, she is a motorcycle rider too. So we both sold it. It has a little bit about us changing to more sailing. But no, I think I can say that I'm stubborn. I'm focused and I'm stubborn. That when I want something, when I decide it, I do it. I go through the pain, either the mental or the physical pain, because I want to see how far I can go. But that means, there is a fine balance. I often say that there is a very, very fine line between being stubborn and stupid. You have to fall down on the right side. So we don't push too far, but we push. We push ourselves because we know that when we push ourselves through the terror barrier or out of the comfort zone, then we know that there is a new life on the other side of that comfort zone. And I maybe it's provocative, I don't know, but I think too many people are too much in their comfort zone. I think people shall have higher goals. I think people shall stretch more. I think it would be good for many, many people to get out of the daily routine.
I have coached people. I have coached people and I've said, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And people don't like hearing that.
Sorry?
People don't like hearing that.
No, because there was, I don't remember his name now, but he said, I think it was Heimlen or something. He said that people are so into doing daily routines that they get enslaved by it. And it is something about that. I don't want to be a slave of daily routines. I was that in my corporate career. I was actually bored. I didn't know I was bored, but I didn't feel very well. And I had good jobs, I had a good salary. I had everything I could want, except that I was not happy. And I realized that my life is different. And then I do it. And of course, as a mentor, you have to live what you teach. You cannot say to other people that you have to go through the terror barrier and then go out of the comfort zone and then you don't dare that yourself. To me, I have gone so far that every time I'm afraid of something, it's an order to myself that I have to do it. And sometimes I think, I'm afraid of it, then I have to do it. Oh, I wish I wasn't afraid of that. But because then I could procrastinate. But it's an interesting, for me, it's interesting perspective of life and an interesting attitude to have, to always push myself.
Well, we're touching on personality stuff here as we're having our conversation. In your book, which is one of my favorite things to talk about, is you get into personality profiles. You talk about the 4 Ps, the playful, the powerful, the peaceful, and the perfect. You love talking about personalities because you love people, don't you?
It's so important to understand yourself. To understand why you behave like you do, why you think like you do. And there are so many different aspects of so many personality tests and systems and so on. So when I started working with this about 15 years ago, I realized that I'm a man. So basically, a lot of women know that, well, he's a man, so he can only remember 3 things. Well, I'm different. I can actually remember 4 things. So, so I found this system, which is described in very much detail by an American author named Florence Littauer, and she uses, and I use Hippocrates' basic temperaments, which are 2,500 years old, and they have proven over time that they are valid. So then you have, and the playful is the sanguine, always want attention, always want to have fun, get depressed when there is no fun, and they are totally unstructured. It's not possible for them to plan anything because they always jump after the new shiny object. And then you have the melancholy, which is kind of the puzzle maker. If you looked into a watch, to like a mechanical watch, you will see that they love all these bits and pieces. And when life is perfect, when everything fits exactly, then they can move. The thing they have missed is that the last piece in the puzzle that they never find unless they are mentored is their heart. It's always that. The last piece of the puzzle for a melancholy is their heart. And when they realize that, then they say, wow, that's cool. So I can actually trust myself. Yes, you can. And you have the choleric, which is me. Choleric is like, the general sitting on the white horse and saying, this way, go this way, Sees the big picture, goes down into details. Very, very fast decision maker, typical leader. We see a lot of them in America and in Norway and in a lot of the Western countries, And the last one is the phlegmatic. And the interesting thing with the phlegmatic is that the most important thing for them is peace of mind. They cannot make decisions.
Yes.
Yeah, they just procrastinate because what is important for them is peace of mind, and to make a decision is not peaceful because that is a choice. And when you and then we are a mixture of all that, we have a primary, secondary. So I'm a choleric melancholic, meaning that I am very good decision maker and I like systems. So and we have others. We can have like sanguine choleric, lots of fun, fast decision maker, no plan.
I am somewhere in between those two. Depending on which day I wake up and which project I'm working on.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, you get into this quantum physics and energy, and boom, you're reading a book about life, meaning, purpose. Then we get into quantum physics and energy.
That's cool.
Wow.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. What is energy?
Wow, what is energy? Well, I know I exude energy personally. I'm a high energy, high octane person. So I exude energy. To me, it's like food. It just keeps me going and going. But what is energy?
It's the thing that makes things move, but it cannot be, it's never defined. And I write about that in my book. Energy is. If you ask someone religious, you ask what is God, they will say God is. To me, it's the same thing. It is the basic energy in the universe, and that, to me, that is love. That is the basic energy, and we are all connected into that energy. And you have more energy in your body than in the bolt of lightning. Isn't that interesting? It's like 1,000 times more energy in your body. Luckily, we have a control system called the mind. Otherwise, it could be a kind of a killer to have all that energy coming out at the same time. But what we do and what I write about in my book is that we take this energy. We can measure energy in your brain. Your brain is energy. Your thoughts are energy. We can measure your heart energy. Your heart sends out more than 5,000 times more energy than your brain. And we can measure that. And it's physics. That is why I go into quantum physics, because people say, this is just thinking. No, it's not. It's actually physics. It is. And what we do is that we manipulate this energy. We manipulate the thinking. And by manipulating your thinking and it's easy to do. It's just to think about what you want instead of what you don't want, and be really good at that. Define what you want, think only about what you want. Most people think about what they don't want. So think about that. You will see that your perception of the world changes, your feeling changes, your feelings change, and your action change. So it's so easy to do, and it's so easy not to do. And that's the biggest challenge.
Well, that's just a sample of what we're going to get into with Christer Johnsen, again, the author. He's a global mentor. He's a coach. He's been a former CEO of a company with over 30 outlets in 30 different countries. He knows his stuff. And hit the QR code. We're going to have a great time going deeper into this book. We've barely scratched the surface of this wonderful book. Hit the QR code. Come and join us. And Christer's got some of the cool merchandise. You've got an apron to give away.
Yeah.
Logo on it, man. Come on.
Yeah, we have aprons and we have T-shirts and different things. You know, it's yeah, and it's just cool, and it's the same message. You know, be daring, be different. The title of my book, which is true. Be daring, be different. Live your life. Don't be afraid. You know, if you fail, you learn. You know, fail forward instead. You know, just challenge yourself. And then the biggest, you know, every day's most important choice. I choose to feel good now. I choose to be happy. That's a choice. That's a choice. It's every day's most important choice.
Well, you don't want to miss it. You want to come and join us this coming Thursday afternoon. We're doing a daytime special, 3 p.m. Eastern time with Christer Johnsen, because he's going to be somewhere else, completely around the world in a different time zone. And are you going to be coming to us from the ship, or are you going to be back on land again for that?
No, I will actually stay home for that. So
Okay.
you know, I'm staying home this week to do that. So, you know.
Well, continue to follow Christer Johnsen on social media. He is posting his globe-trotting adventures. And Christer Johnsen, what's your final words for today to entice everyone to come and join us for Be Daring, Be Different?
Set high goals, just do it. Follow your intuition. That's the most important thing. Your intuition is the connection to the universe. Think about what you want. Set high goals, just do it. It's amazing. It's amazing life to live like that.
And that's chapter 10 of the book, everybody, which we will get into on Thursday afternoon. You don't want to miss it. We're going to deep dive into the book a little bit more. We're going to learn more about Christer Johnsen and his thoughts, his philosophy. And again, be daring, be different today. Learn how to break free and live that adventurous life. And keep following social media because we're going to share more of his life through the camera lens. And you get to learn a little bit more about him all week long. We'd love to see you at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Hit the QR code, go to our landing page, go to the website at rockstagemedia.com. That's rockstagemedia.com. And we'll see you at 3 p.m. Eastern time this coming Thursday for our virtual book launch party with Christer Johnsen. And until tomorrow on the Trigger Rich Bond Trigger, we'll see you back here at 2 p.m. live with the Trigger.